Okay, this is the last video in this series, and it's all about organizational structures. In the previous video we talked about ways that things that influence the project, and one of the things we talked about was organizational influences. And so what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the different ways that organizations can be structured. So organization are like the company. So it could be the construction company or the consultancy company, or it could be the client's company, whoever you're working for and whoever you're working with. So it's always useful to understand how their organizations are structured as well. And there's different ways that an organization can be structured in relation to a project. And the typical three ways are functional, matrix, and project-based, and we'll look at each one of those in turn. So councils are normally functional, consultancies are normally sitting in the matrix, and project-based are usually developers and contractors and alliances. So we'll look at each one of those in turn. So a functional organizational structure. Now these are grossly simplified. Most organizations are much more complicated than this. There's probably a management team sort of sitting here, probably manager above this, and there's probably administration people down here. So this is an oversimplification, and this is the way a council normally works. So this example here is for a council. So you've got the council, the chief executive, and you've got the council off to the side here, which isn't shown, and then you've got the management team are off to the side. But anyway, so you probably have a water department manager who's responsible for providing water services to the community. So remember, a council provides services to a community. The roading department manager who provides the roading services to the community, and the parks department manager who's managing the park assets. And there's probably other people here as well. There's probably someone that's responsible for customer service, another one that's responsible for accounting and management, all that sort of stuff. But let's just look at this part here. So we've got a project team. So let's say that the water department need to put a pipe in under a road. So you've got a water engineer that's been allocated that work, and he needs some inputs from the roading people and the parks people. So his pipe might go through a road and parkland as well. So we need those people involved as well. Now the lines of communication is this guy's the project manager, but he reports directly to the water department manager. And the water department manager then goes to the roading manager and says, I need one of your roading guys to help me on this project. And he goes to the parks manager and says, I need one of these parks guys to help me. Okay, and these guys are allocated to the project. These guys will talk to each other, so this guy will go along and talk to this guy and this guy, but the reporting arrangement is the roading manager, so he might go, so the water engineer might go to the roading manager and say, roading engineer, and say, I want you to arrange for road closures while we're putting in our pipe. So this guy will organise the road closures. He'll report to his mate, he'll probably report directly to him, but he will report to his roading department manager. So the lines of communication are really to your managers, functional. So these are functional parts of the council. So that's the way a council normally works. Matrix organizational structure is similar, but better for projects. So the functional way is a really hard way to manage a project through there, because the project manager doesn't have any authority or any direct control over the people who are doing the work for them. In a matrix organizational structure they do. So you can see that in this case we're talking about a consultancy. So you've got the geotech department, you've got the structures department, you've got the infrastructure department. Okay, but when a project manager, so the project manager may be a specialist project manager, there may be a project management department. Sorry, I just pushed the wrong button there. Or it might be someone within the structures department. So this red project here, we've got someone from the project management department who's been given a project, and he has allocated people. So he's got these two geotechnical engineers, he's got these structural engineers, he's got this infrastructure people, and the infrastructure CAD operators. So he basically communicates directly. I should have put arrows to these ones as well. He communicates directly with those people. He has authority to them. They report back to him, and he's solely responsible. They probably keep their directors informed of what they're doing, but their main path of reporting goes back to it. Now there are different types of matrices. There's a weak matrix where most of the communication would be to there. So these people are really responsible to their director, but they also keep the project manager informed. To a strong matrix where these guys are essentially working for the project manager for the duration of the project. It might be that you don't have a specialist project manager, it's just that the structural department are doing something and they need some help. So you've got the blue project here, so they've got an infrastructure engineer, they've got a geotech engineer, and two geotech engineers and a geotechnical technician. So once again, the lines of communication, this person will be communicating directly with these people that are part of his project team, keeping these guys informed, of course, but in a weak matrix, he won't have much control over them. If this guy decides that he wants to take this guy off the project and do something else, he gets to do that. With a strong matrix, no, that guy is allocated to that particular project. So you can see the matrix organization is really a continuum from the weak to the strong, linking the functional to the project-based organization. And the last type of organization is a project-based organization, where the organization is structured around doing projects. You will find that construction companies are normally structured as a project-based organization. They win a project, and then they put together a project team, and then those guys go out and they do their project. So you'll have site engineers. Once again, there's probably a lot more management people, administration people here which aren't shown. So there's one project, so this might be a subdivision project. So you've got a site engineer, and he's got an earthworks crew, a drainage crew, roading crew, and he might hire some subcontractors. Those people work with him, they directly report to him, and he reports to the chief executive or the senior engineer or something like this. There's another team who are sort of on a different site doing that. Now there might be a bit of interchange between these, but not much. These guys are pretty well allocated to that project. This project manager, the site engineer, has total authority over those guys. He tells them what to do, they report directly to him. So this is the project manager has most control over the people that are part of his project team. And it's worthwhile looking at a special case of a project-based organization, a alliance. In this case here, you've got consultants, clients, designers, constructors, all in one team. So they form an organization. So for example, and this is only done with a big project, so for example, the Waterview Tunnel project, they formed a company, and that company's sole aim was to complete that project. When the project is completed, that company will dissolve, and all the people that are in that company will go back to the companies that they were originally in the first place. So that is a project-based organization, which is dedicated to just one project, as opposed to, say, a construction company where they just form the teams according to each project as they go. So it's worthwhile keeping cognizance of what type of organization you're in, what type of organization you're dealing with, and how the power or the authority and the ability of the project manager to get things done, to get resources, varies according to the type of organization that he's in and that he's working with.